Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Freedom Brigade Nation. Producer Andrea, Ibn Ali. Thanks, guys, for joining us again. How was your week?
It's been good.
It's Christmas every day with the
Another
news.
day full of Christmases, right?
I feel like I have the best job in the world now that we've got the right president in place.
I was about to say the same thing. Keep on doing it, Trump.
I'm saying.
Keep on doing it, Trump. Keep on making them mad. Keep on making them mad. Keep on doing what you said you're going to do. Come on, baby.
I mean, well, Andrea, you were posting about the paper straws. Like, I was looking at Trump's tweets, and I was like, he was saying, we're going back to plastic straws. He's going to do away with this ridiculous ban.
Enough of the nonsense.
What is paper straws anyway? Have you ever
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
those things.
How do you?
Oh my God!
How do you look at a piece of paper and think that this is going to be something you can take?
Go get it wet. Go
this
get your
physics,
paper wet.
guys. It doesn't work.
But so many people, it's like the people with the electrical vehicles. All of a sudden, no one wants an electric vehicle because it does not work. You can't drive for more than like 2 hours, and then you got to find a charging.
Right.
I mean, everything's nonsensical. But I remember in the beginning of the paper straw movement, because I live out here near California. I'm on the California-Nevada border.
Everybody have a moment of silence for Andrea, who lives near California, where the paper straws were sold as a good thing. Okay.
Oh yeah. So you'd go out to a restaurant, and this is years ago, and all the like liberal hippie goofballs would then all of a sudden stop. They didn't give you a straw at all. That was like a new thing. I'm like, what happened with straws? And then if they did give you a straw, it was paper. And then if you asked for a real straw, a plastic straw, they knew right away who you were. They were like, oh, you don't care about the environment.
Oh, I mean, why? Because all I want is a straw that's not going to get wet, not going to tear.
Oh my gosh.
So I posted that was I think I posted that I thought that was the most important EO thus far.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember Clay saying, let's have a contest to see who can have the biggest carbon footprint? And he did the whole show with like this gas fire behind him going the entire time.
Well, Tom, in the beginning of COVID, Tom Renz used to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go start up my diesel truck, and I'm just going to let it run in front of my house. I'm just going to let it sit there and run all day, and maybe I'll just drive it around without my mask on, just.
Oh my gosh. With our light bulbs we got back. Thank you, Miss K Patriot. I see you, your comment.
Yes, common sense is back.
Common sense is
what?
back.
The light bulb thing is actually very important for our health. There is a lot of cancer and weird stuff that happens with some of the bad light bulbs. So the light bulb thing is actually
okay.
The straws made me giggle. Okay. And I was being real goofy. I posted on like all my client socials. I was like, this is like Christmas. Screw the paper straws. But the light bulb thing is actually really important because a lot of the stuff that they do is to hurt us and to make us sick. And the light thing was making us very sick.
Well, and and then they also added some more safety measures and common sense because he banned men, regardless of their mental illness, from participating in women's sports. Like, I can't believe these are things we had to say out loud.
I know.
I don't want to fight even. That's insane.
Right.
I said that, Charity, when I made the post. Yeah, when I made the post about, there was a really cool picture too. Some people were like, is that AI? And it was Trump surrounded by all those girls. All it was a really beautiful moment. But when I shared it, I was writing about it. And I stopped for a second. I said, this is ridiculous that I'm so excited for this. This is crazy that this is a thing in our society. I'm sitting here right now so happy that my president just said, boys can't pretend to be girls and play in girls' sports. Like, that's actually a thing. That's the sad. It really hit me about how absurd this world is.
My grandmother is like rolling over in her grave, hearing some of the things that has happened these past couple of years. Thank God it is being reversed back to normal and common sense once again. Thank you.
Well, and then the biggest scandal in 1,000 years, guys, USAID. USAID.
Yep.
USA.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Come on, and look at how
corruption.
Oh, the radical left are losing their mind.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I think on The View, was it on The View? Whoopi's been saying some great stuff today. Whoopi's like my favorite. Whoopi, a woman named Whoopi, was complaining about Elon's son's name. Okay, so she's picking on a kid about his name, and her name's Whoopi. But Whoopi and the gal from The View said something about, you don't have, like, we American people don't have any right to see these records, to know what's going on. Okay, it's my taxpayer money.
Why? Why are you trying to hide?
My taxpayer money.
Your name.
And the government works for us. They work for us. And
Exactly.
so, yes, I have the right to know every penny of my tax dollar. I want to know where it goes.
You daggone right you do.
You think that they're putting billions of dollars to the condoms and wherever? You think that's what's happening?
Now, that was hilarious. The condoms.
That was embarrassing as an American citizen.
Serious?
Really, like millions of dollars into condoms. Well, and you guys, they proved, right? They're funneling money to the fake news. Politico alone got 8 million. How many more?
Yeah.
I mean, it was, they were getting payoffs for putting good stories on Democrats. They're paying that. They're the things that they found. It's beautiful.
BBC, and I think we were funding the BBC, and they were being told by the USAID people to make sure that it was a state-controlled opposition operation. It wasn't, go and do the news. It was, we will give you a ton of money. And you know what they did? I think they doubled their budget after Trump was elected the first time, because they were scared, and they said, well, we're going to have to double our budget and give BBC more money and Politico more money, because Trump was such a threat to them.
But look who's back home.
Isn't it beautiful?
Let's go.
Daddy's back. Yeah. Well, okay. And so Mexico.
How you like me now?
Beautiful. That was the other thing. I wanted, like, Mexico. That was so beautiful. Okay, you're not going to help us with the border? Okay. Yeah. And so I want to read this tweet. It was actually, I'm going to share it. This one was, here we go. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he says, I just spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum. Is that how you say her name? Of Mexico. It was a very friendly conversation where she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 of Mexican soldiers on the border separating Mexico and the United States. I love how this guy is just so diplomatic, right?
Yeah.
Because he's just, she was so friendly, not pretending that he had to strong arm her, because she's actually a total jerk. Okay. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for a 1-month period, during which we will have negotiations headed by Secretary of State Margaret Rubio. Okay. So the breaking that down, he pretty much said, we don't even trust you to hold your end of the deal. So this is just for a month. We're not going to put these tariffs on you, and we'll see if you keep up what you said. But guys, this is beautiful. He's running the entire world.
The liberal goofballs were out there saying, watch out. You're not going to be able to get your Coronas and your avocados. Oh, come on. I could live without some Corona and avocado for a while. All right. If it's my future, my kids' future, and my country, I'm okay with not having some Corona. I think I'll be all right. Thank you.
But just give me my avocados, though.
I do love avocados.
I love my avocados now.
We're going to have to grow our own avocados. That's all right.
Yeah, we're going to have to, plant some trees. Yeah, there we go. We'll just do that. Look, I'm coming to Reno there. Let's go.
We're going to have an avocado farm, me and Eben.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, my goodness. You guys can share it with my husband. I don't like it. He can't get enough of them.
They're so healthy for you, though, Cheer.
Well, that's probably the deal. If it's real healthy, I don't like it. My body is like, I want sugar and bread, and so it's like, it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle.
One step at a time.
Well, I want to thank America Happens, Vem Miller and America Happens Network for having us on there. Andrea, you were talking about all the pesticides and all of the different ways that they're poisoning us. But we have a solution for that. There's pesticides in produce. Tom's been talking a lot about it. But we have Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who's actually going to be coming on very soon. And her she swears by these Touchstone Essentials. And you can get fully detox through these Touchstone Essentials if you go to freedombrigades.com. And I'm going to share the website. And if we go to right over here, where can you see my screen, or am I just talking?
Did I take it here? Let me bring it back. Hold on.
Okay, bring it back. There we go.
There we go.
So, we're looking at the wrong page though.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. I'm going to share a different screen. How's that work? So if you go to the Freedom Brigades, there we go. There we go. And we go over to shop. You can find, we're going to have, this is going to be updated, but if you go to Touchstone Essentials right here, this, guys, they have this Parashield, and that is not showing as well because when I opened a new tab, it didn't show it, did it? That's okay. If you go to that link, there's stuff you can detox with, and there's stuff that you can, it's called Parashield, that will actually shield your body from the poisons they're constantly putting in us, all these different directions. Do you use Parashield, Andrea?
You know what? I haven't started using it yet. Tom and his family got a bunch of it sent to him because they've been really, really into these products, and they swear by it. So his wife was just telling me that I got to get a bunch for the family, especially with your kids. They have thousands of testimonials of kids who had some maybe spectrum issues, autism, things like that. Maybe they're chronically ill and all sorts of varying things. They use this stuff, this spray, and you see kids all of a sudden healthy, vibrant, their gut issues gone. And sometimes they're communicating, playing, and doing things that they've never done before in their lives because there's so much in our bodies. We're getting hit with so many toxins all the time. And in those testimonials, you'll see a ton of moms talk about what they see coming out of the kids too. It's kind of, it's crazy. And they say after just a little bit of use, you can actually see these toxins leaving your child's body. So not just for kids, it's for everyone. But Tom has it on his desk. He uses it all the time, and he thinks it's been helping his health tremendously.
So I've got mine ordered. I'm looking forward to it. I trust Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. She is 30 years ahead of the rest of us, and she swears by this stuff.
Here's like a picture of it when we were doing it. So Pure Body Extra.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I've got the detox coming, the Parashield coming, and the green energy. But check that out, guys. Also, you can find Eben on our website with his kingdomfight.org. We appreciate the ministry that he does with Tom Renz. And you've got a book coming out in a few weeks.
Yes, we are very excited about. We are going to start doing a mass promotion on that. We want to get our pre-orders. We're going to get our pre-orders set up here. We're on the finishing stages of that. So if you go to kingdomfight.org, pre-order your copy of this book. You do not want to miss it. This is a book that is going to help you transform into the image of Jesus Christ. It's going to give you victory for 40 days. It's going to be a beginning, a launch to your new season of prosperity and understanding your true identity in God. It's going to be amazing.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to read it. Yes. Well, guys, I want to bring on, we have another rock star in Oklahoma. We're going to bring on Dean Sharp. You guys know Dean. He's a good friend of ours. He comes on the show periodically. We'll bring him on first. Hey, Dean, thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys, I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm ordering Parashield and paper straws. That's what I'm doing.
Very good.
Perfect.
We have Sandra Treywick. She has been an amazing fighter. I met her through our work in Oklahoma because she is fighting as well. And she has led a fight of her own that has just ended up combining with some of the Patriots. And as you know, we join efforts. We don't compete. Sandra is an amazing Patriot. Sandra, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
So I got to cut straight to the chase, guys. She is known as the Donkey Milk Lady. How did you get... Yeah, so that's how she trademarks herself, right? And so how do you get the name of the Donkey Milk Lady? And what is donkey milk, like this thing you can actually buy, and why would you buy it?
So it was funny. I was actually speaking at a GOP meeting, and I explained our story. And afterward, a lady came up to me and she said, I thought that was just cool branding that you call yourself the Donkey Milk Lady. I didn't know you actually milk donkeys. And I was like, yeah, that's how we got the name the Donkey Milk Lady, because we started milking donkeys for our daughter when she was 6 years old. She got an autoimmune disease that attacked her brain. It's called PANDAS, pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorder associated with strep. And she's now 17. So at the time, most doctors didn't even believe it existed. We were one of the very blessed ones that got properly diagnosed, but we were told best guess by NIH was antibiotics every day till she was 18 or 21, or IVIG treatments, $10,000 a pop, not covered by insurance. And so we did a lot of praying and a lot of crying, and the long story short, but the Lord led us to donkey milk. So within 30 minutes of her first dose, and this was 3 months since onset, She said, "I love you, Daddy," to my husband for the first time. And so we do what any parent would do. And my husband milks donkeys and I cheer him on. And we have a herd of probably one of the largest herds of critically endangered American mammoth donkeys in the country.
This is my first time hearing this story. That's
That is
amazing.
awesome.
That is
But look,
amazing.
Thank you.
But look how right there God has given
Thank
us
you.
everything.
Yeah,
we
it's
need,
God
from
is
the
amazing.
animals,
And
Right.
the natural. Wow.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna have to try some
I could
donkey
talk
milk.
for an hour just about donkey milk. And yeah, absolutely. So we are one of the only donkey dairies in the United States. And we then had people reaching out to us because we started from the beginning. We won't break the law. And you have to pick up raw milk at the farm of any kind. But donkey milk was not regulated at all in Oklahoma. I mean, who would think that somebody would milk a donkey? It was just cow milk and goat milk. So we were able to advertise. We were on the news. We were in Southern Living magazine. Part of what we share our story is to give other parents hope and get other kids properly diagnosed. And we started really reaching out to other families, and that's part of our ministry.
That's great.
So,
Amen.
So you've been
Yeah.
If it helps
trailblazer
with kids that are speech impediments or autism, is that true?
So we do. I am not a doctor, and this is not
I
medical advice.
This is spiritual advice.
So
It's best.
right. We've had families with children with autism, families with children with like juvenile arthritis, other chronic autoimmune diseases, adults with autoimmune diseases. And, you know, when you start really researching, you find out the connection between the gut and the brain. And the amount of your immune system that actually resides in your gut. So there is research to back up that donkey milk is antifungal, antiparasitic, antibacterial, and immune modulating, as well as anti-inflammatory. It has really very high immunoglobulins, lysozyme content, which is naturally antibacterial.
So where can people
I
find
should
your
stop
stuff?
talking
And
about donkey.
we'll stop talking about donkey milk because get the real reason we did not bring her on to talk about donkey milk.
Right.
But
No,
what
I
is your
want to
website?
bring her on
People?
Tom's show to talk about donkey milk for
I
hours.
know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm
So
fascinated.
give us your website where people can find out more about the donkey milk and purchase it.
So they can go to donkeymilk4health.com. And that has a link to get our raw donkey milk or to get our imported freeze-dried donkey milk that's from the Azores Islands. And we can ship that anywhere in the United States. Or they can go to oklahomadonkeyDairy.com. That has our skincare line. Or they can go to hehaw4health.com, which is our nonprofit that we do scholarships for kids that can't necessarily afford the alternative stuff that insurance.
And don't tell us that the phone number is VR549 either.
No. Yeah. And the thing is, all of that, they'll go there and they'll be like, wow, she doesn't have any skincare in stock, because we've been so involved with the political stuff that doesn't pay the bills that we're like, oh, we're so behind.
Yes, that's an accurate statement. When I won National Committee Woman, I was telling Andrea, I'm a little afraid I might win because it pays nothing and it costs a lot. Like, and not just money, it costs everything. I understand, but so you've been fighting the globalists and the 2030 agenda on this huge scale, which is how you and I crossed paths. What got you into that fight?
So originally, you know, part of what we did to get our daughter better was we eliminated toxins and we tried to live the most healthy lifestyle we could. And we live in the country, you know, we have an acreage, we have mammoth donkeys. And I grew up on a wheat farm in Kansas. I am well aware of farming practices and how you care for your land and what it takes to be a farmer. And we went outside one day and there was a horrific stench. I mean, like death, chemicals, blood. It smelled like something rotting dead and combined with a gas leak. And I had no idea what that was. And we quickly discovered that the city of Oklahoma City takes everything flushed down all the toilets and puts it on farmland across Oklahoma. Edmond, Norman, Tulsa, every state in the nation does this. So when people say, oh, it's just Oklahoma, no. Every state except Maine has now banned it.
Excuse me while I throw up.
Wow, like
Wow.
Right.
And they have those little signs that says you don't want to drink this water.
And
Right.
they put that
Yeah.
food
So,
in our
and
grocery stores.
right. And Oklahoma is one of 13 states that actually allows you to grow food for humans in this waste. The rest of the states all grow things in it as well, but it's probably growing your hay that then feeds your cow that grows your hamburger. So it's a big cover up, and not all of the waste goes onto farmlands, but Oklahoma, and all the other states do it. It's just to what degree they do it. Some of it goes in landfills, but there's other ways to process this. We are smarter than this. We don't need to be a third world country. And so we started fighting that. We got it banned in our town, and then we took it to the state, and we've been trying to get it banned on a state level for years. And that caused some retaliatory political stuff to happen.
Well, this explains a lot of what goes on in California then, in the education level out there, with all of this human feces all over the place.
Well, it was actually.
It happens there.
I was thinking of California because I'm out here on the West Coast, and Los Angeles, they just dump it out into the ocean.
You're getting the fumes from it.
When there's a lot of rains and floods and stuff, you don't want to go to the beaches and be in the water because all of the overflooding and your sewers and things are just flowing out into the ocean.
Absolutely.
Right. And when they banned putting it in the ocean because it was too dangerous for the ocean, then they started putting it all on farmland.
Makes sense.
Right. And if you look up, they can Google, this is Chernobyl, Fort Worth, Texas. And they were taking the Fort Worth sludge outside of Fort Worth. And this is kind of a tactic they use. So they'll target communities that, free fertilizer, and they tell them it's safe. Well, one of the farmers used it. Neighboring farmer now has, I believe, 39 animals dead, horses dead, cows dead.
Crazy.
That
is to really stop this, though, if you can prove that it's dangerous to the snail darter fish, it'll stop. They'll put legislation to kill it.
Don't worry about humans. Just, But so then I think where you were trying to get me to was the part about the wind turbines.
Well, eventually, but no, this is good. Like, we need to know this. I don't care if we ever get there. This is important. I didn't know that, and it's really disgusting.
Well, and the ranchers in every state go through such hell. I mean, it's so hard to be a rancher and make any money anyway. And then the way that the state and the government systems treat you. Like in Nevada, because I've ran some gubernatorial campaigns and senatorial campaigns in my state. And so we go out and we talk to these ranchers. It's crazy. We have such a water issue because we're in the desert. But if they don't use their water, so they get like a stipend. And I think sometimes some of this relates to what you're saying too. If they don't use it, then they won't get it again the next year. So it's almost like those budgets, if you don't use it all, you'll have less next year. So the ranchers will then flood and use water that they don't need at the end of this, whatever that time period is, so that they don't get it taken away. This is a state that needs water. We're in the desert.
Yeah.
I mean, and other places in the world, like in, the Middle East and stuff, they've found ways to incorporate, use ocean water and use different ways instead of just flooding your farmlands. There's irrigation things that we could be doing, but we don't do it. And then if someone wants to do it, it's too expensive. And then we tax them or we tell them that it's against the law.
Right. Yeah. So get this. The farms that are now in Maine, they shut down these farmers. They told them it was safe. And now they're saying, oh, your products are contaminated. Your beef is contaminated. I mean, it's happening. And Michigan, they're a beef farmer. And they're all saying, I don't know if you guys have talked about this on your show yet, but that it's PFAS, forever chemicals, the stuff, Teflon, 3M.
At least they're consistent.
Okay. Right. However, now here's the rub.
Yep.
Last year, the EPA came out with legally enforceable PFAS drinking water standards. And this, it was Biden's PFAS roadmap. And it was supposed to be for communities of color, rural communities that need this help. So I start looking into this PFAS roadmap, legally enforceable, 4 parts per trillion. And that is the equivalent of 4 grains of sand in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So when I talk to farmers and ranchers about this, none of them have any idea about this. And I always tell them, I am not the one saying that this is a safe amount or that, this part is actually, toxic. That doesn't matter. And trust me, when I've dealt with the government and you're trying to tell them that your product is safe, it does not matter what you say. It's what they say is the standard for safety. So this EPA PFAS roadmap, they put in billions of dollars to go to towns and cities to put in filtration systems so that they can meet that 4 parts per trillion for their drinking water for the people in towns and cities. So I started thinking, well, where's the money for the rural communities where they have been dumping their sludge, their human and industrial waste for years that they know has PFAS in it? And the EPA just admitted that they've known, I believe, for 3 years that sludge has this chemical in it. So where's the money for the farmers, the ranchers, and the rural communities that depend on the aquifer and well water? I finally found it. I think it was $50 million. And that specifically said, this money is not to be used to clean up the aquifer. This money is not to be used to clean up anyone's well water or give them filtration systems. It's to pay the government to come and test your water and hook you up to a city water system if there's one available.
More correct.
And if you know a farmer or a rancher, you can't fill up your stock tanks, you can't water your crops, you can't irrigate paying city water prices. Or if it's not available, then what? You're just up a creek and you don't have any water? I mean, so this is the kind of thing that I'm like, this is insanity. Why? And they still have not banned dumping sludge that they know has PFAS by thousands of tons on these rural communities. And they haven't, I mean,
it's intentional. I keep
not
saying they're coming after our food supply because it's the last thing that we have.
Yeah.
They want to shut down our food supply. That's why China's buying out all the farmland. And this is part of the agenda. And the people who fight me and say that I'm a conspiracy theorist, are you out of your mind? They don't care about ranchers or our food supply. They don't want to make America great. They want the globalists to come in and they want us eating Bill Gates's factory meat. And you're happy if we die.
Yeah,
that's full of parasites.
Absolutely.
You said it's insanity, but sanity has not been anything. That's not a requirement at all in anything to do with government. Thank God Trump is coming in with some sane, common sense. I cannot wait for him to get to this stuff because he will at the rate he's going.
He loves the farmers. They have a good
at the rate
he's all about farmers.
Hopefully he gets there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And I've had people say, well, are you really worried because they could, take away the EPA's funding? And I'm like, no, you know why? Because for years I have had to fight the argument that these farmers and these politicians have used. And they say, well, the EPA says this is safe. So you're just a crazy donkey milk lady. And I'm like, excuse me? So I'm having to fight the fact that there was an EPA telling them it's fine. And they're not believing me. And now the EPA is finally saying, oh, by the way, it's not fine. And, this is happening on, other levels as well. All of these things, we have these agencies that are telling them one thing, and then the boots on the ground, people like me are being called extremist, environmentalist, whatever names and labels they can give us to try to discredit us.
So that's what they do, right? That was the whole point of conspiracy theory that came out of the 1970s. The CIA put that term out to discredit us. That is what the left does. The right argues with facts. The left argues like a 5-year-old that calls names. And so when their entire argument is you're bad, ignore them. You're a meanie, ignore them. Well, we were the crazy non-mask wearers that were making everybody sick around us because we didn't take a poisonous injection. I was told
I was gonna kill babies because I told babies not to wear masks. I was gonna cause mass death in children because I told them to take the mask off. But like with what you're saying, Sandra, so you're telling me I'm a conspiracy theorist for saying that there shouldn't be poop water being dumped on top of my farmland. I'm the crazy one. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem is the conservatives have kept their mouths shut many times and not even argued back. They're too light. They want to go along and get along.
Yep.
We have to stand up and we have the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. We have to stand up and start fighting back and yelling, screaming about this. And we've got 2 years to do it, folks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keeping the peace is not keeping quiet. It's speaking up for peace, because otherwise insanity rules. You're right. There's 2 years, Steve. Okay, so tell us about the wind turbines.
Okay, so, we were already embroiled in some of this stuff, and I had friends that had fought wind turbines in Oklahoma a little bit, so I knew some about it. And we drive halfway across the state to go see a biological dentist. And when we drive across Oklahoma, we drive through a lot of wind turbines. And so now both of my daughters have chronic childhood autoimmune disease, never before seen in our family. And when we go through those things, we would feel sick, like anxious, headaches, pressure in our heads. And I had another friend that when she would drive through them, every time she would vomit. And when she hit those wind turbines, she would vomit. And she started, like, first time thought it was just, queasiness from driving. No, it is, she has also children with health issues. So when one day my parents called me from Kansas, where I grew up, and they said, well, we just found out they're putting wind turbines all around us, and we're just sick about it because we don't like the blinking red lights, and we don't, want to have to look at them. They're ugly. Well, my daughters were in the car. I was on speakerphone, and they both started crying because they knew that this would be horrible for them and their health, and they can't be around them. And we go all the time. I help cut wheat, all of that. So I was like, oh no, this is not happening. And I contacted my two sisters, and they had not been involved in these types of fights before. And I was like, no, we got to go help. We got to stop this. So, they typically target these communities that are farmers, and most of them are over 60, 65 years old. They don't know how to start a Facebook group or do a press release or get organized, and I think that's by design. But one sister came from Arkansas. I came from Oklahoma. My other sister would come from Texas, and they have like advertising backgrounds. So we just got organized, got the people organized. We pulled together this group and started really going after this politically and through the press outlets and all of that. And it was a 2-year battle. And we would go as often as we could to these meetings and get people rallied. But it really took the people there going to meeting after meeting after meeting, every commissioner meeting. My parents were there, and just making sure that somebody's watching what's going on. They flipped one of the commissioners, and they were able to, through zoning, that's what they already had in place, they banned wind turbines and any solar over 10 acres in their county. So, that was a success story. And we were like, okay, I was like, okay, that was 2 years. And then I started sharing about wind and solar here in Oklahoma through my group that I already had set up to fight the whole human or biosolids thing. And all of a sudden I find out that they're going to be putting them in the county right next to mine. And it's another highly populated area, beautiful ranches, but, a house on every 40 acres or less. And so I was like, no, you got to fight this. And we got our friends out there and got some press on that. They started fighting. But then it was disturbing because it was county after county after county. And they're all reaching out saying, wait, we have wind turbines coming here. Wait, we have wind turbines coming here. Oh, now we have thousands of acres of solar that are coming here. And now we have battery energy storage systems that are coming here. And now we have, CO2 pipelines cutting across our state that nobody even knows about, and CO2 capture and lithium refineries and all of these things. And our governor is saying we're open for business. And our Senate pro temp is saying, oh, we don't want any extremist radicals to stand in the way of these worthy projects. I'm like, wait, Trump is saying no more wind turbines. And we're saying, bring them on.
The most conservative state in the nation saying this.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what's happening?
Yeah, so I'm over here crying and freaking the hell out when y'all in Oklahoma can't fight this evil because I'm in Nevada. What are we going to do?
I do want to point out our governor has never stood by Trump to begin with. In the primaries, he backed DeSantis. All 77 counties have voted for Trump every time he's run. And this guy still backed DeSantis in the primaries. Now, the state committee when he came to speak to us, the Republican State Committee, which is all the chairs and vice chairs of the Republican Party with the committee members, we all stood up, we held up Trump signs in the middle of that primary and let him know what we thought of that. And he had the audacity to say, well, I'm just trying to get behind someone who can win 2 terms, which means he believes that that was a legitimate election in 2020. The guy has done some stuff that I've really appreciated, but the fact that he goes against Trump is one thing after another. He just got rid of, we had Ryan Walters on a few weeks ago, and he just got rid of 3 of Ryan's board members and installed his own. We believe it's because Ryan, there's a big uproar because Ryan's saying, hey, we're going to be cooperating with Trump on this illegal immigration.
Yeah.
They're losing their minds. So the fact that, I just want to say that, even though this is a conservative state and we do have one of the more conservative governors, don't believe him that he's on the Trump side. He's proven he's not. And don't believe just because they're conservative in some things that they will be in all things.
You know, one of the things you mentioned about the zoning, that you beat back the zoning. We've got another issue here because locally, in the next county over, the company wanting to put in solar farms has gotten around this by calling it farming, and it's not being rezoned. And it's because the county commissioners don't have the chutzpah to stand up. They don't probably have the education to stand up. And that's a real issue. All of this goes back to education. We have to start over in educating people because we're dealing with a different animal now than we were back in the 1970s or 60s when I was a kid. We have to teach people, look at the criminal activity that's going on. Now, one of the things that we noticed here, we couldn't get the head of the GOP to really stand up and do anything until, and this is what's funny, until we found out that the Chinese battery factory was going to be put in the same town where he lives. And he all of a sudden jumped and got involved because he wants to stop that, and he became very vocal. Here's what we have to do. We have to start getting people, the Rothschild families, the Vanderbilts, all of these super elite special people as they consider themselves. Let's put all these plants next to their property. Let's bomb them with this garbage and the
Martha's Vineyard.
They purposely
all of that.
They're purposely not in these communities, and I know Sandra has seen. John Spence has put that together. Sandra's put that together. They purposely do not allow them in those communities.
That's right, and so, but they want them here, and the reason because is they're not here. And that's anywhere. California's got the same problem. I'm a native Californian, and it's embarrassing sometimes to think about the stupidity that's applied in doing anything there. The government is a Marxist regime that has been basically doing a coup d'etat and has stolen the government away from the people. And we have to educate the people in order to take the government back. That's wherever we are. In any state, we have to apply education.
That's what I love about Sandra. Sandra goes and she gives the facts and the figures.
No, that's right.
And she has done tremendous work. And I know that even when the brigades were fighting them in Craig County and the McIntosh County and all the different Pittsburgh County, I know that they brought Sandra in, said, hey, we need your expertise. We need your help. We need you to show us what to do. I appreciate everything.
Sandra this is like a Bible fairy tale to me. The donkey milk lady is out there whooping their ass with the truth. And this is the kind of thing that only Jesus Christ does. I always say, God's got a sense of humor because that donkey milk lady has done more in that state than it sounds like most of the elected goofballs.
One of the things we can do. One of the things we can do is we can get people plugged into things like Range Magazine, which comes out of California, and they can start finding data that can be used in understanding how these wind farms and solar farms, they don't work, they're not profitable, but they can also see all the data on what they do. CFACT is another great site to go to and dig down in. The guy that runs it Craig Rupert is kind of a crazy guy. He'll parachute into any place he's going to speak, but they provide tremendous data to people. We've just got to get this in front of folks and say, look, let's start realizing what's there. When I lived in Overland Park, Kansas, I got to introduce the weatherman, whose name is Mike Thompson. He's now a state senator in Kansas.
He's great. He helped us. He was amazing.
Yeah.
How did he help you guys, Sandra?
So, well, when we were fighting in Kansas, we reached out to him, and I thought, like a lot of legislators here, he wouldn't even give me the time of day. He reached back out and he's like, hey, I think I'm related to you by marriage. Your last name. I was like, oh, you're so cool. So he was trying on the state level to help, and he still is right now. And he actually needs testimonies submitted in Kansas about these issues.
Now, so, you brought up to my attention, there's a House bill 1755, and I see David Callahan just got here. David, welcome, join the conversation. Where are you at?
I'm just listening. It's all good.
Hey, David. Hey, it's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
So tell us about this House Bill 1755.
Right.
Sandra.
So it's being run by Representative Del Curbs, and it just came to my attention yesterday. And Oklahomans for Health and Parental Rights actually did a live feed about this committee meeting. And I was like, wait, what is happening right now? And only 2 voted against it, Representative Rick West and Representative Ty Burns. But this bill is really important because it can actually set precedents for across the nation, which is why groups like Moms for Liberty are paying attention to what is happening here in Oklahoma. Because this type of bill is being proposed in not just here, but 7 different states, Oklahoma, Iowa, Mississippi, Tennessee, among others. And essentially they presented it by saying, this is just a labeling bill. It has nothing to do with liability. And our Representative Rick West, who's a superstar in my eyes, he said, is this a request bill? That's a key question to ask a legislator. So he finally says, yes, Bayer requested it. Now, I'm recovering from the flu, so I listened to this whole thing, and it takes me a minute to put it all together because I'm like, wait a minute, Bayer. They didn't say the name of the chemical, but they kept saying this is just about labeling. It's not about liability. But then he starts circling back and saying, well, we don't want any circuit judges to do any rogue, lawsuits. And so we need this legislation in place and to protect this American company. And I'm like, wait, what? And then, protect them from lawsuits. And I'm like, well, then why is it not about lawsuits? Well, if you go back and you look, Bayer bought Monsanto in 2018. The lawsuits on Roundup and glyphosate, I believe there's over 120,000 of them. And the basis of most of these lawsuits are that they did not label the product as being something that could cause cancer. So by doing this law in Oklahoma, essentially what it's going to do is they're saying, well, as long as they label it according to EPA regulations, and this goes back to the EPA once again, because the EPA still does not say that glyphosate causes cancer. So there's...
Hold on a minute. They're not admitting that?
No.
Wow. Okay. Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So by putting in this law, House Bill 1755 is the one here. I don't know what the numbers are in these other states, probably a similar duplicate bill. If they pass this, then they're saying, oh, it's just about labeling and kind of acting like, oh, we just don't want to have to put a new sticker on a product. No, this is about EPA says glyphosate doesn't cause cancer. If we pass this law, then all of the lawsuits, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, cancers, whatever, that could come up in farmers, ranchers, landscape people, gardeners that use this product, then it takes the legs out from under them to be able to sue, to cover the costs of their chemo and whatever medical treatments they want to do when they get cancer or die. And this is the kind of thing, I mean, did we forget we have the right to redress the government for grievances. Yeah, what happened to that? When did we start saying, oh, we protect them from lawsuits, and we got to protect them from lawsuits? Yeah. Who's left to blame? And when you don't hold them responsible, they don't change.
Well, the lobbyists tell the legislators, or not the legislators, the elected jerks what to do. These guys don't even read the bill. I mean, we were just talking to, Johnson about this, Johnson's office about this. They don't read the bills. Right. They do what the lobbyists tell them to do. And why don't y'all look up how many lobbyists are in your state that are paid off by Monsanto and Bayer? An American company? Y'all want to be proud of Bayer? No, it's not an American company. They need to be gone. And what they do is they pay they pay them off, and they tell your elected officials how they're supposed to vote. And they know they're going to either get never elected again, or their family's going to be in trouble. I mean, these lobbyists are worse than I'm not going to lie, and I don't have any shame in it. I will dox an elected official all day. I will give you their address. I will give you their phone number. I will beg you to call them 100 times. But guess what? No one brings up the fact they give me a hard time for being an activist, but they never bring up the fact that the lobbyists do the same thing. Your legislator's trying to be a good guy, and guess what? He'll go home to a lobbyist harassing him all day long if he doesn't do what they tell him to do.
Right. Yeah. And then they're misrepresenting these bills in these committees where I'm listening to it. And I'm like, I'm getting confused because this is talking in circles and it's saying one thing, but it's saying another thing. And it took me a couple hours thinking about it to go, wait, I remember a couple of years ago, this, and these lawsuits, and it was about labeling and this, and put it together, but they don't know that. These guys don't, they don't follow weird stuff like me about lawsuits from glyphosate and Monsanto and all that. So they don't know.
An expert, and you are an expert, and God bless you. But for that, but like Tom says all the time, even being an attorney and studying this stuff for the years that he studied it, being in the COVID fight and being an expert in that, you still have to be so an expert in all these things to see what they're doing. And you shouldn't have to be an attorney with, all this expert background in order to understand what these bills are really doing.
See what corporations have done over the years. The baby aspirin company that everyone fell in love with back in the 50s, Bayer, has turned totally woke and totally anti-American in what they do. And this is what's been going on. We have to awaken our people, and we do it with education. We do it with people like Sandra here that goes around. Sandra, I want you to stay on after our show because I want to have you come and speak to our group.
I want to talk to constitutionalists here because we're running out of time, and I want to hear from David on this. David, can you weigh in?
Yeah. Hi, Sandra. It's nice to meet you. I think we were in a room for a few minutes a couple months ago here in Logan County, but we've never met. But what you're bringing up here is a real problem in our country today, ultimately going back to what Sandra actually mentioned, that Article 2, Section 3 of Oklahoma's Constitution says that the people have the right to peacefully assemble and to come together and file petitions, addresses, and remonstrances by peaceful assembly against those who are in positions of power. And we don't have the mechanism or the authority to do that anymore. We don't have it. It's there on paper. It's what Justice Scalia called parchment guarantees, meaning it's there on paper.
Earthquake.
Yeah, sorry. I was holding my phone and it started gibbering up. Okay, sorry. So parchment guarantees. In other words, and Madison in Federalist 46 called it parchment barriers. They're on paper, but we don't have any main means for them to be done. This is where we have to go. It's what I'm working on very diligently, trying to get us back to the place where we can have that authority back in our communities again. Until that happens, Bayer, Dean, even in the 50s, Bayer was a bad company. They just happened to create one nice product for baby, for children and, for headaches. But in reality, that company has been a long time Nazi company way back in the days when Hitler was alive. I mean, it's crazy when we think about the history of that company. Yeah. The point is, we don't live. And this is a shock to people. We do not live in a constitutional democratic republic. We live in a nationalist, quasi-democratic oligarchy, and we have since after the Civil War. And until we get this clear in our heads, and we understand the history of what's been done to us, we're going to be like the lemmings, just jumping over the end of the cliff over and over and over again for the rest of our lives, wondering why in the world can't we get our freedom back? And that is my humble opinion.
Okay, so I need Eben to weigh in now, as usual, right after David, who gives us the dose of reality, and then Eben comes in and gives us the hope. Please help us out.
Well, there's only one hope, and the true hope is the kingdom of God. That is the true perspective. We have started. We have started to go back to that now. You can see the nation has turned. You see God has answered prayers. He's put the right person in office right now to begin to switch things back to the divine order it needs to begin. So we know everything happens in the spirit first. So when we pray, when we declare, when we use our authority as the true ecclesia, which is, a governing body. Ecclesia, right. Jesus set up his ecclesia, which is the governing body of the kingdom of God. So we have all authority, even over what's happening here on earth. So we as the church have to continue to pray, to stand, to speak daily. We have to be watchmen on the wall, to speak the word of God, to speak our freedom back into existence. Not only speak it, but we need to be doers of it. We need to be boots on the ground like Sandra and like many of us going around speaking the word of God, teaching it, showing the fullness of the kingdom. And that's what's going to bring everything back into perspective. But guess what? There is good news. It's happening. God is showing it's happening. It's already from the last 4 years to now. The shift, you're going to see it the next 2 years. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep warning. We have to keep declaring the word of God. But watch what God is going to do. And it's going to be a quick work, and it's already happening. So I want to bring that hope. That's the truth. Was going to get everything back completely where we need it in our freedom.
Even can I throw in one other thought, and that is,
of course you can.
all that we have with the election of Mr. Trump is a chance.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. We had better realize right now, it's on us, and if we are derelict in our duty be the Christian light that we're supposed to be on a hill, we're going to get what's coming to us very soon. And I mean, there's a lot of things going on in Washington that are not good. And we have got to realize, I mean, it's better than it was 2 months ago, but we are so far down the wrong road. We've got to get back on the right path.
But guess what? Everything's getting exposed.
That's
God
right.
is using Trump to expose the corruption, to expose everything. And every time they put up a fight, guess what? They're going to hang on their own gallows the same way Hammond did. Yep, when he went against that, that's right. And so I'm telling you, there's a master plan. There's something bigger. But you're right. We have to do it.
It's got to be bottom up. It has to be in the communities. And the people are going to have to start becoming involved. We're going to hopefully get some practical ways to do that. And we'll see where it goes.
Well, I've always said it's the Trump hopium. And you cannot have the hopium and then sit back and do nothing and think that Daddy Trump's going to do everything.
That's right.
God bless him for getting rid of paper straws. But if you want to take back your own community, you got to get off your butt and do it. And I had a lot of friends who are big Trump fans, that have sat back. Or Charity and I were just having a conversation about a good friend of ours. It's like there's so much negative when you start becoming aware of how deep this goes. Like, the poop water on your fields and the people who don't know why they're getting sick. And then you start peeling this away. And the fact that Bayer was created by Nazis in World War II, like when you start seeing the truth, it's really hard. Some people get real negative and they want to give up. And then some people go, oh, well, Trump's going to do it for me. I don't have to do anything. That is the opposite of what we need. You've got to get off your butt and do it yourself and fight for your community.
And violently take about force. We have
to the Freedom Brigades and get involved.
Yeah, that's what the brigades are all about. That's what
the Freedom Brigades take 4 hours a month of your time. It's 2 hours to go to the meeting and then 2 hours to report back to your brigades. And the brigades are connected. We talk amongst ourselves, amongst each state that's involved, and then each state leader talks to the other state leaders, because that's how we're going to take this back. You take back your community, and we all take back the republic.
And if the donkey milk lady can be kicking as much ass as she is, you can be doing it too. I don't want any excuses from anyone going, well, I don't have a background in that, or I don't have a platform. Because Rocky got a platform. She's out there kicking ass. I don't want to get her.
I want you to see a new recruit here.
There you go.
Who we got there?
That's Cookie. He's one of the new brigade members.
All right, Cookie. Well, you guys, please remember we are at war, and we need to be purposeful with our dollars. So it's like Sandra was saying before. They are poisoning. Even your deodorant has aluminum in it. Go buy it from My Liberty Box. Go shop the affiliates from the people you listen to. Tom Renz. I want to give a shout out to Tom Renz. He is I want to say part of the brigades. He is the brigades. He is a part of what we do, and. We go shop his affiliates, go shop the affiliates Eben has, go shop the affiliates on freedombrigades.com. Not only do you support patriots instead of supporting your slavery, but you will get a product that will be helpful and not harm you, because everything you're buying from the big box stores, from apparently your produce to your toiletries, is poison. So let's take our business away from them, and let's take care of ourselves and be purposeful with our money. That is one of the ways we must fight back with this war that we're in. Sandra, we are definitely going to have you back on if you will put up with us again. I enjoyed this.
I'd love to. Thank you. I'd love to.
You guys, we will see you next week.
For me and my
yeah, me too. I need to try some donkey
milk. We can all toast next time.
Okay, there we go.
Sandra, hang on just a little bit after the show.
Okay, thank you. I will.
Okay.
See y'all next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.